All right, hello everyone. My name is Hunter Walton. I'm one of the leads on the project, and with me here is one of our other leads. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Gavin Graves. I'm once again the other lead.
And today we're talking about Suck It Up. This is a game about weaponizing speech bubbles in a toxic workplace in order to climb the corporate ladder. So starting off, we want to talk about where we were after Game Jam. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our Game Jam build right here to show you where we were at the start of this project so you can see how far we came by the end of this. So starting here, this is the original Game Jam version. We uploaded itch.io. And we have this front-on camera angle, and pretty much the main goal of the game is you suck in speech bubbles and you shoot them back out. You have to hit it within this little meter here in order to shoot out a speech bubble, and if you click while the paperclip is not in that meter, you can't shoot. This is more just a preview to show you basically where we were at. But now we're going to go ahead and move on in our presentation to some challenges and changes that we met throughout development, starting off with our very first big change. As soon as we knew that we were working on this competition, we knew we needed to get a lot more serious. So the very first big change we made in terms of team structure is we switched over to Agile and Scrum. So we've been on weekly sprints every single week since Game Jam, essentially. This being one of our burn down charts, we were on story points. And this was a big shift for a lot of people on our team because a lot of them had never been done sprints before, done Agile before. So this was a great learning opportunity for everyone, and also gave us a lot of flexibility due to the harsh deadline to get what we needed to get done completed. And I'm going to pass it on to Gavin here to talk about some other stuff.
All right. We did a lot of playtesting. We really tried to enforce that we test everything that we implement. One of the big things that we started being very critical of was the camera angle. As you can see, we had an early on realization that maybe a 45-degree tilt would fit our game better. And a lot of members on the team felt that this was so they held a playtest which concluded at 45 people in under a day. And that really led us to realize that we needed to shift it. But doing this didn't break any systems, but it did break our main boss. So we had to completely redesign the boss, or so we thought. What we did was we actually had to create an entirely new system, which seemed out of scope at first, but we actually did it in under a week. And that was to make everything destructible so that the boss could rampage through the entire level, top to bottom.
And now it's time to show our current build of the game and what we have now and what we've submitted. So here is Suck It Up. Same start screen here. So we'll go ahead and go in. Here's our intro cinematic. So I'll just let this play.
All right, we're going to let Hunter try and play through the whole game. Now, it's a one-life game, so we're going to have a real skill check here. So good luck, Hunter.
All right, so this is our very first tutorial area. One big change you'll notice immediately is we do have full controller support now. That was one of the big changes that we made after our Game Jam version, because we felt that twin stick controls similar to games like Enter the Gungeon would be really awesome for this game and makes it really fluid. That being said, though, you can still play the game with the mouse as well, but controller is the preferred input. So starting off here, we meet our receptionist, who is our sort of tutorial enemy. And what she does is she just goes ahead and starts teaching you how to play the game. So every piece of dialogue that pops up above her kind of tells you how to play the game. So the first thing is using the joystick to avoid shots. Right trigger to blast your insults across the room. And then left bumper to suck in shots. Once you eliminate the receptionist, you're able to move on into the elevator to start our tutorial level.
Yeah. We wanted to keep things fairly simple because we designed everything around the idea that if it can't fit on mobile, then it's probably too complicated for us.
So starting off here, you'll notice you are completely blocked off here. What do? We have to break down a door. This is a huge system in our game. It adds a lot of mobility. And then you'll also notice there's a quest system popping up on screen, kind of guiding me on what I need to do next. So the next thing I need to do is fight enemies. So I'm going to bash this door, fight this guy. Pretty simple. And then you'll also notice everything is breakable, as we mentioned earlier. So there's a lot of destruction, which will become a lot more apparent later. We also have a bunch of different enemy types that shoot different speech bubbles, and then you gain their abilities when you suck in their speech bubbles. So that's a showcase of our destruction there. Our next quest, we need to heal at a water cooler. So water is health in our game. So there's these water coolers spread around that act as health. So you're able to suck in those water coolers in order to heal and progress. That way you don't die super quickly since it is a one-life game. And then our last thing we need to do is answer phones, which really ties into our main objective system. So once I answer this phone, we are shown the elevator, and then we can head back. And then kind of the end of every level is going back to the elevator. That way you can move up the building.
So that was sort of a tutorialization section, but now we're going to get really into the nitty-gritty section where you can see just how everything flows together in terms of the pacing of a level. Right now his task is going to be obviously to do what he did before, which is answer 3 phones, but things will get out of control very quickly as we have a systemic destruction system which will, everything can break, from the tables to the your cover to, I mean, you name it, it can break. And we made sure that was so. The only thing that actually can't break is external walls because we don't want you jumping out the building. You can also see on Showcase a few of our projectile types. We have a three-ray burst shotgun blast, which shoots like poison type ammo, as well as the regular basic ammo, as well as our blue railgun ammo, which we can see here, which has some pretty fun sound effects.
That is also the only ammo that can pierce through walls. So as you can see there, it pierced through walls, pierced through enemies, and I was able to get all 3 in one shot right there. Our next quest is we need to make some copies. So you go on the copier and start making copies, and this is a sort of defending type mission that introduces you to our respawn system, which is where these employee doors fall from the sky to make employees attack you while you're trying to complete these quests.
As you can see with everything we add, we wanted to elevate the level of chaos that we can have in the game. So, of course, the respawn system has to destroy everything around it. This is one of our new project enemy types, which is going to be the red. Oh, he might die actually right here. We'll see him later.
So now our last and final quest in this level is we need to splash coffee on the poster. So we use we kept on referring to them as like Nintendo camera transitions. Nintendo games usually do a good job at guiding the player with camera. So that's kind of how we guide them to what quest is next. This is one of our new AoE enemies.
The one that died earlier. You can see it causes massive chaos. Destroys everything.
And so we can go ahead and grab this coffee here. And the main challenge to this quest is we can no longer shoot. If we shoot, we lose our coffee cup, and we can't suck it back up. So we have to go back to the coffee maker. So it's sort of a fetch quest with a little more difficulty to it. And then enemies are constantly still around the area and can spawn in during this quest. Now if we bring it over to the poster, we can engage in our first mini-boss, the floor manager. And so now our last task is to defeat her.
You might want to speedrun her so we can get to the big boss. She's a fun type of character because she can switch between attacks. This is what we wanted all of the sort of higher level characters to do because, of course, if you're going to have someone in the corporate world who's really high up, they're really good with their words, and that means that if they want to insult you, they know a real good way to do it, and they can switch on a dime. And as this is all happening, there's a clock in the top right. That clock is going to make things gradually harder as time goes on in the workday. And once you reach overtime, things go to a point of difficulty where they become borderline impossible. But there's still a chance that you can make it through.
Now we beat the floor manager once again. We go back to the elevator and proceed to our final level that we have right now.
Yes. Now, this is going to be a bit of a tonal shift because you're going from the first level to pretty much the last level, where you're at the pretty much the gates of hell, the top floor, the corporate offices. This is going to be an entirely vertical map. This completely shifts design on its head, and is kind of a straggler from the original design, but we thought it was a fun contrast and allowed for a really unique type of gameplay. This is going to be less focused on completing specific challenges and more on just surviving. Get to the very end and see what happens next. For this, we had to make all these assets from scratch. There's a few that carry over because it's still an office space, but we had to make a total new palette because this map is completely distinct from everyone else. Pinch. Hunter's doing pretty good if I do say so myself.
I'm trying to make it through as fast as I can so that you guys can see the final boss.
Yeah, I will say this is definitely not an easy level by any chance. But we've only gotten about, I think 3 people I know have beaten it. I'd be Hunter, 1 playtester, I think one of our designers.
And then now that we're at the end of the level here, we can see our final boss, the CEO. And so this kind of turns the entire level around because it's going to spawn in, and now I have to run away from it while fighting it in order to defeat it.
All these systems are built modularly off of previous enemies that we've designed, and we are going to use it to be able to make other bosses whenever we expand down the line, because all of these are just using pretty simple modular systems. It also uses all the projectile types from before.
Oh, dang it.
Oh.
I died. We can go ahead and show. We prepared. We have a video of completing the boss here.
Yes, we're aware of how hard our game is.
So, as you can see here, we're kind of whittling the boss's health down in this gameplay. And it keeps just plowing through the map, breaking everything in its path. And then right here at the end, once we get the last shot on it, you've beaten the boss.
You defeated your corporate overlord. Bit of a happy ending, if I do say so myself.
So that right there is Suck It Up.
All right.
We
Very
can go
good
back
stuff.
to our
Very
slide
good stuff.
deck here.
All right, I'm guessing what you're going to ask is, what do we have planned? Exactly. Well, we have our production schedule to a T. We have a lot of things on here, but we also have some things that we didn't want to put just because of clutter. One of the big things I'll highlight is that right now we have our Steam page, our Steam demo already released. I released this morning, so right now you can play what we just played through yourself. Try to get to the boss. I challenge you. It's a bit difficult, but I promise you, people have done it. But we're also going to be doing weekly devlogs coming soon, so we can join the dev community online, as well as potentially attending MomoCon or other conventions like that. For social medias, we have these already made, and we've been posting as much as we can, sharing the word about this competition, as well as our progress in the game. We have a Spotify release that we had with 9 total tracks. This is a remaster of our Game Jam track, as well as some tracks from future content that we haven't exactly made yet, but we're working on. This is the Steam page I mentioned earlier, which has our demo on it. And that's pretty much everything we have so far.
And then here's the actual Steam page if you guys want to go ahead, look it up, suck it up on Steam, and you can wishlist it there. But
Yeah.
that's all we have, so thank you.
Thank you.
You have any questions?
Very good. All right. We shared the link to the Steam and the Spotify, so you can grab it right now. Check out Steam demos. It's great. They can track those demos, not only the downloads, but also the plays. You get a lot more downloads than plays. I was amazed at how many downloads I got from Russia before I remembered that we have, because of the financial issues with Russia right now, they can't buy anything on Steam. They can just get the free stuff. So some discussion of lag spikes. King Cold Catter said it seemed like the game was chugging every minute or so. I did not notice that, so we'll have to look. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Some other questions from earlier and comments. We all talked about the destructible environment. Love seeing destructible environments and looking forward to the scoring system for that. Yeah, Jeff added, JY had a great comment. I imagine what the cost for repairs would be. Will there be a financial bubble? Exactly.
Yes, we were definitely talking about having a scoring system that directly correlated with how much damage you caused through your playthrough.
Very cool. Dreamchild on Twitch says, love the music. JY,
I definitely suggest everyone to go and listen to Chunky P. They're the person who composed all this, Carson Delucio. So that's that Spotify link.
Always promote your audio, folks. Well done. JY says, wow, that was so satisfying with the railgun through the walls.
That's our sound producer, Mark Odom.
Hats asked, what engine is this in? And you answered UE5.
Yes.
Rachel LaCroix said, breaking random objects is so satisfying. Amelia Dutch said, great music and creative design. It's the Donut Man told Hunter that if he dies, he's off the project, and I think he died.
What?
Oh,
love the cinematics. It's the Donut Man said the soundtrack is so fire. Yeah. Those were the main comments through the chat. So I did have a question right off the bat. When you fought the receptionist, in the other levels, you get the go to elevator cinematic. I didn't see that. You just went to the elevator. Did I just miss it?
Well, the reason why we did that was because at that point, we didn't want to bog the player down with too many camera movements. We already had a few already that guided them to the new quests. But at that point, we assumed that the player would be able to read at the top that it said go back to elevator. So we didn't think that.
So I noted this at the time. If players are just running around and not reading, which will happen, and especially if you don't have localization on, put a light or something on the elevator when that happens. Do something to guide them other than text.
Okay, we can definitely look into
So
that.
yeah, you're seeing it right there. Yeah, because if they are not able to read it or don't read it for whatever reason, you've got no guide to what to do next, and that elevator just looks closed.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about controller support. Love the fact that you implemented that. Talk to us about what was involved.
So yeah, it was a lot of, I don't think anyone on the team had ever actually implemented for controller before, so it was a lot of checking your current input mode. Controller UI was definitely a big struggle that we had to work through. But overall, one other big problem we ran into is shooting projectiles at the current perspective we have is very difficult, especially on controller. When you have a mouse, you can obviously see exactly where you're clicking, but with a controller, it's a bit looser. You can see the general direction of your megaphone, but one thing that we did end up adding is a sort of aim assist system that helps project ahead of the player and figure out the enemy you're trying to shoot at, so that you have a better chance of actually hitting them. That was a huge change, and we've been tweaking that a lot. That was one of our big playtest tweaking things that we did. We got a lot of feedback to try and get it to the perfect amount to where when you're playing, you never feel the aim assist, even though we as developers know it's in the game.
All right, very cool. Really do like the new 45-degree tilt, the new point of view for this. Nice camera angle to it, and that you were able to implement that pretty easily too, apparently. Can you talk about making that change?
It didn't really break any systems at all, which was surprising. I was sure that it was going to mess something up. The only change really had to be with that boss design, and then we ended up coming to a pretty good conclusion that if we just kept it where he goes straight down, it kind of fits with his narrative as well as, he kind of breaks his own rules, that you can just go right through people's offices.
All right. Very cool. Hunter, sorry you're gone, says it's the Donut Man.
Oh no.
Oh, you're fired. Nico's not going to be lead.
Sleepy says, kind of reminds me of Hotline Miami. Very chaotic. All right. Very good stuff. If you liked what you saw, please do like the video. Let us know what you thought about all of these. Did it freeze for anyone else? No. Okay. Yeah. So in chat, any of you watching, like this because that helps make sure it shows up in other people's algorithms so they can see these games as well, and they can follow these links and check out all the games. I'm going to share all the different links to the games so that you and anyone else can go enjoy them. If you have any last comments for any of the teams, post them here. Otherwise, remember, April 15th at SCAD Atlanta. Parker, do you have that link handy that you can share to get everyone out there? If not, like Parker has said, it's in the main building, 6 to 9 p.m., April 15th. But we need to have your names on that list in advance to get you into SCAD. Otherwise, we can't get you in the building. So yeah, please get us those names. April 11th is April 10th, preferably, because we have to turn over the list April 11th. So let us know. You get to meet the devs, you get to play the games, and yeah, learn about what happened at GDC. Once again, anyone from the Siege Indie Game Festival, share your links. Let us know you're here. We can put these on in, and I will share, of course, the link for Emperor of the Fading Suns. Make sure you wishlist this game. Wishlist any game by devs you like. It costs you nothing, and it really helps. If you look at our videos from Chris Zukowski on how to best show up in Steam, it really is how you work with the Steam algorithm. Steam becomes your best marketing tool if there's enough momentum behind you. That means wishes. That means downloads of the demos. And all of these different things that go into it. So your wishes really matter. I'm very happy that with AFS going live, we've got something like, 12,000 downloads of the demo. I'd like to have more wishes. We're around 5,000 on the wishes. But getting ready to launch, we'll let everyone know how that goes. So make sure you wish these games, download them on itch, give them traffic, give them love, talk about them, follow the socials. And we're still looking at some cool suck it up stuff. But remember, April is your game dev month. EagleCon, the Athens meetup, April 15th, Best in Georgia Awards and GDC Report Back, April 19th, Siege Game Festival, Transformer AI Conference, April 26th, 27th. So much stuff going on. And you don't have to just suck it up. You've got a whole community out there to work with. But still, suck it up. Say good night, and we will call it a stream.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you at all these events, and definitely April 5th. Oh, put the itch link back for Night of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Bubbles. I absolutely will. How did I miss that one going up there? I put Suck It Up twice. That's how. I thought I had Night of the Living Bubbles that time. Thank you for letting me know that. I will do that. Let me do that right now, and then we will transition out of this stream. Thank you for catching me on that, May. All right, there's the Night of the Living Bubbles one. I'm going to put it in twice. It's so good. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you April 15th.